Yes, welcome to Cannon Fodder TV. This is the Bray and Richard joining me for the big Sunday show. Yeah, brilliant result at home. I've come back. I'm absolutely buzzing, shattered, and let's just get into it. I think it's going to be a good show. I'm sad that we haven't got a certain Nottingham Forest fan to come on. I don't think it'd have been bad. I just think it's just nice to be able to talk about football, and that's why we're all here talking about a subject that we all enjoy. But like, as I say, it's one of those, and no one likes a Tonkin. And look, it's one of those. I'll happily go on after a show when we have a bad run or a bad game. It will be hard, but yeah, the football is the good game and the end all. That's the be all and end all. We can all get on and have and talk about that one thing we love. But yeah, Richard's here again, as I say, to discuss the game. Top of the league, a decent showing, in all honesty, a clean sheet, and yeah, back to winning ways at home. Let's get into it after this. Yeah, so Richard, how are you?
Buzzing and knackered like yourself, but for a different reason. I was working until till 10 to 5, but so because one of the guys was off, so I left two of us. Well, really left me because the other guy's useless. But it's it is what it is like having just one of you on when it's him and you. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. So I've come home refreshed and raring to get into this.
Oh, it's been a nightmare weekend for me. I come into the weekend thinking I weren't going to the game because my boys had a 1:45 kickoff in their game. So I sold my ticket and thought, yeah, okay, my boys' football comes first. I've got to be there. Obviously, I'm a coach, and yeah, then it turns out the away game gets rearranged to 10 o'clock in the morning. That was
Okay.
that was the day after I sold my ticket, and
Then you had to scramble for another one.
yeah. So then it turns out the game got called off this morning. So it's one of those. So I end up scurrying around for tickets, and then ended up having 3 tickets to get rid of before the game in the morning. So yeah, got my ticket, and yeah, what a game! I'm a little bit apprehensive about this kind of game against Nottingham Forest. We know about their history as a club and where they've come from, where they were down the line. And to be honest, through the decades that we've played them, I don't think we've really had huge amounts of real easy games against them in any kind of like era. Even like look through to from the 80s to the 90s. And yeah, obviously they obviously moved away in the noughties and stuff, but yeah, they're on a renaissance now, and they're back in the Premier League. They've got the investment in the club with their owners, and yeah, I was expecting certainly as well. Also, that you just look at that FA Cup showing as well, and I know it's a different game, but yeah, it'll be a different game at the City Ground, won't it? But
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their recent results in the last four, it had been 2 draws, a win and a loss, and the win was against Liverpool. Okay, Liverpool had chances and maybe should have won, got a result there, but if you don't take those chances, you don't do it. So they'd been in a sort of resurgence in the last 4 games. So it was always going to be a sort of we need to be on top of it, and we hadn't been. So the Leeds performance, the PSV performance, and the Bodo Glimt away had been the sort of the performance level a dip. So there was a question there as well. So it was always going to be an intriguing one today.
Yeah, it's one of those games where they've found it really hard to score goals. I think certainly over the last 4 games in the Premier League. Um, yeah, you think you look into October. I think they got beat by Leicester, didn't they?
Yeah,
3 or 4-0, and then yeah, they got a draw. Yeah, was it Wolves? They lost 2 as well,
yeah.
and
I
then
mean, but even even if you look at it, I don't believe. Well, let me have a. I don't. I don't believe they've had a poor. Uh,
well, two draws in October. Brighton away, which again we've seen by the way Chelsea have gone there. They obviously got annihilated.
Man
Um,
City, Man City, and Leicester are the only 2 games where you can where the results were similar. I mean, 4-0 away to Leicester and 6-0 to Man City.
yeah, that's it.
Both,
Villa
both
won
away.
1 draw.
Yeah,
Wolves beaten 1-0,
yeah.
and then a 0-0
Fulham was
against Brighton.
3-2, so it was a close game. So and every other game's been quite close and tight. So
Yeah, they had 2 3-2s in a row, didn't they, in
yeah,
September? So yeah, both at the City ground, and yeah, you look at it and you think you know it's going to be tough.
it's one of those games you want. You on paper you think we should win this and we should win this easily, but historically these type of teams, but you know they're going to come back, sit in a low block, and try and hit us on the counter. And they're the teams that we've struggled against historically.
Of course, and yeah, I think it was really kind of predictable where you saw the way they set up, and yeah, I was lucky to. Well, some people would say lucky, some people would say unlucky. I picked up a ticket, ended up being in the upper tier, and this view was probably the best that you potentially could get at the Emirates, where you could see kind of everything, every bit of play about how the game went from forward to back and back and forth, and it gives a good round kind of how the team play. Um, yeah, the other side is that you lose a lot of the atmosphere on that side. So yeah, I'm a lower tier uh, guy. I like to get involved. I like to sing. I like to get involved with the atmosphere. And to be honest, that upper tier, it's just not. It's just not the way I like watching. I don't like to just sit on my hands and maybe just have a polite kind of round of applause or a clap when you should be really getting excited. I don't know. I ditched this seat at half time and ended up sitting back in my normal seat, and we ended up kind of huddling and squeezing together in the lower tier. Obviously, must have brought us some good luck because you ended up scoring 4 goals in the second half. So yeah, it was good to see that upper tier view where you could see how Forest weren't intent in pressing us high. They weren't looking to really go forward and press our goal kicks. They were happy just to kind of set a little low block just around the halfway line or just in front of the halfway line, allow us to play out. But then they had the opportunity to try and close the gap. And yeah, they played with like a 4-3-3 to start with, and that they were trying to use that. But then as it went on, I think about halfway into that second half, that 4-3-3 actually was really more and more looking like it was a 4-5-1, and they were looking really to shut off those kind of like middle areas. Um, just going on that viewpoint, being high up in the gods, it is crazy how you see how we set up in midfield, where you see Xhaka that kind of drifts into that kind of half space kind of area, off the side of the middle area, and then also the same with Odegaard. So you end up seeing when we're looking to build play, there's no one actually in that kind of middle to kind of really kind of pick up the ball. And this is where Jesus, I think, comes into that kind of area to kind of link up play and get involved. So it was just interesting to see that kind of how that is, because you don't always see that when you're lower to the pitch, and certainly at the game. Yeah, you might get a feel for it on the telly all the time if you're watching the game every week, but just to see it live and see in that way, and you're suddenly thinking, yeah, it just seems like everything was kind of just drifting out, and then there was no real kind of way unless Jesus come into that little void and then just picked up the ball, and then there's the link up play.
What I think it is when you're down lower, you tend to be following the ball, the player where the ball is, and you're concentrated on that. Whereas further up, you're actually, even though you're seeing the ball, you can see everything else that's going on around it. You're not directly focused.
It's the tactical camp. That's what I like, and this is what I say, because being a coach, I like to see that as well, because I've done.
Which is why I like to watch matches back afterwards as well.
I've done my level 2, maybe my coaching, and that gives you the understanding of why you do it, and if you set your team up, and you understand that kind of level. But
you would have also seen Tommy Asu playing more of a Zinchenko role today from that position, which maybe you wouldn't have necessarily seen from a lower position, because it's, as I said, you're more concentrated on where the ball is.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see. I wish I could see more games from that viewpoint, and so I classify that as, say, like a tactical kind of cam, where you can actually see that. And this is probably where those data analysts obviously get their data from, and obviously when they do the research, because they then have the cameras that are wide, they can see the whole.
Well, Wenger always had somebody in the stands watching the match from.
So I found it fascinating. I liked it. I liked it in that first bit. It wasn't the greatest kind of half. I mean, we had lots of control, but there were times where, certainly towards the latter part of that first half, we kind of lost a little concentration.
Yeah, I think from 20 to 35 minutes, we got sloppy, didn't we? We got maybe overconfident or relaxed too much, and it was. We literally give them a chance. We give them hope and give them a way into the game at that point, and that was probably the nervy moment. You had Partey giving the ball away, and then you had Gabriel, what he's doing, passing the ball into the centre of the box.
As I said, when he picked that up, and I said he could have passed the ball absolutely anywhere apart from where he passed it, Gabriel, and it was like the only place he shouldn't have passed it was exactly where he did, and it went straight to the player. And we got lucky because weren't on target and there weren't an issue. But I thought the way we handled it, I thought we'd done well. So they were obviously looking to play the ball over and try and get a run on goal. But overall, I think Gibbs White, I think Lingard had nothing to do in there, and we kept them quiet, and we handled them quite well. And
he was poor when he had his opportunities as well.
Yeah, it showed why they went off pretty early. And you look at it and you think the way we started, I thought it was just nice. And I called for this at the start. I said we had to be high intensity. I think we had to really set the tone. We had to have the real energy to go out there and stretch the play and make it hard for them. Show them that they're in a battle, and get the job done early. Take chances. You know what I mean? You want to be in control of the game, but you also want to make sure that you don't allow them back in the game by not taking your chances as well. So you've got to be clinical with your chances, and that's something that we haven't done over the last
in this game again. Even in this game, there were more chances we had. Goal line block. Henderson probably 2 or 3 outstanding saves, and maybe sloppy finishing as well, or not being quite quite confident from Jesus. That could have been an 8 or 9-0, but we're in a position to come away and say it doesn't matter, because we've won, and we've won comfortably anyway. But they're the things that need to be worked on.
No, of course. No, I think all round it was decent. You saw the way certainly the front three linked up before Saka went off as well. You saw Saka popping up on the left. You saw him down the middle. You saw him on the right, and it was quite nice just to see that. And this is why I say about that kind of interchanging when players are kind of drifting out in midfield, and then there is that little void. You saw Martinelli kind of popping in that little hole again to pick up the ball. You had Jesus coming out wide, and this is where I say this whole.
You even had Granit Xhaka up front at one stage.
Granit Xhaka almost playing as that second player that was kind of running on the left hand side, and you suddenly thought, well, hang on a minute, it's quite nice. But what he needs is just someone then just to be on that outside to, when he is kind of in those areas, that someone can run on and beat the man. But there were a couple of times where we tried to play a pass through, maybe just the weight of those passes were a little bit too much. But I don't think there's too much to really be concerned about in that game. We got the 3 points, we got a clean sheet, 5 goals. There's a bit of confidence come back into the group, I'm sure, for that going into Thursday.
Five clean sheets in the league, or was it 4? We've had, I think it's 4 away and the first home.
Yeah, well, I'll look at that in after the World Cup, and I suddenly say, well, yeah, look, we've done well. But the thing is, that could easily probably isn't the word. That potentially could have been a banana skin, and obviously people were kind of saying that this could be a time where we drop points. Yeah, we're in a bad run of form. We're kind of potential. Are we potentially imploding? Are we not kind of where we were?
Is our squad depth telling? Are we fatigued? And we were getting we were getting it off pundits. We were getting it off
we'll always get
our own fans as well. And you'll go in any part of the season. You're going to have dips in form and consistency, because it's natural. You're dealing with, it's not a computer game. It's human beings.
Yeah, they are gonna struggle at times. Yeah, you're right. It don't get said a lot, but again, you have players coming into the country. Again, you start hitting the winter months as well.
Yeah,
that comes in. I'm not saying that's hit in yet, because look, we're coming into autumn. We're coming into Halloween, and it's 22 degrees yesterday, and you're suddenly thinking, unbelievable. And normally you're getting a coat on, you're getting jumpers on, you're trying to really kind of sort yourself out. But yeah, there's always that chance of where you suddenly say these players that are coming in, you've got to deal with that kind of. You're right being in the summer, but when it suddenly starts hitting. Remember the cold months when we're obviously having to always travel up to the northwest, when we always had to play those Tuesday night games at like Bolton or stuff like that. I mean, just that's when you'll know the player is up for it or not up for it, and yeah, they'll tell a lot about the character of those players. And yeah, I'd say I'm a believer. If you keep saying or keep murmuring that a player or a group is tired, then they will be tired. You keep saying that they're tired. You're going in the press saying they're tired. They are going to be tired.
Yeah, they start to believe it. It's a psychological.
Yeah, it's one of those. And look,
I mean, I do think, but in the Leeds game, in the PS3 game, and we did get tired, but it wasn't because of the matches we played. I think it was just because we were sloppy, giving the ball away, and then we were having to do a lot more work. If we'd if we'd controlled it like we controlled some of the early games, like the Tottenham and the Brentford away, we wouldn't have been looking like that. And again, it's something that I'm sure frustrates Arteta, that we get that goal and we then get sloppy and relax and think we've got the game won and put to bed. And I'm sure he'll have a go at them again. He'll praise them for the result, but he'll be into them. We need to keep that intensity up, that professionalism up for the whole game.
Yeah, no, I think this is part of the issue what we've got as a club. Obviously, we've got the youngest squad in the league. I think that's still
Second
the case.
youngest
I
now.
don't think that's changed.
It has changed because Southampton went out and bought all Man City, a load of Man City academy players in the summer. But we're the second youngest. But that's still, considering where we are, that's still not a bad
I
place
take it
to
as a
be.
group, and I look at it from this point of view. We're meddling with a big boys game, and that big boys game is potentially competing for a title. And we are a young squad, and we know that these players aren't used to that level, and certainly consistent level at that time, because obviously this is their first kind of real kind of chance of getting to that kind of that level and that experience. And yeah, it goes down to the whole kind of performance level, and you're suddenly thinking, yeah, these youngsters aren't always going to be putting in these show-ins every week. There's going to be times, there's going to be peaks and troughs. But again, Arteta's got to manage that as well by not being too harsh on them. Whatever he says in the changing rooms will stay in the changing room, unless it was on All or Nothing. He will always keep it to himself. You know what he demands from a player, and you know that he's got a lot of trust in his players. But again, I think you've got to be aware of that. Obviously, the medical team as well play a massive part in what decisions he makes. And yeah, and I think it was mentioned in the in the chat, which we'll go into in a minute, about Saka. It wasn't. That's not an overuse injury. That's not a tired injury. He got clipped from the back, and that was the second time. I think he got caught in against PSV as well, where he got caught in the back. But it was an impact injury where it's kind of obviously it's obviously on the back of his leg, so he's obviously felt it, and
he tried to carry on, and then when he tried that volley, he realised at that point it was no go.
It is a good. It's not nice, and when your game is kind of set up on pace and being comfortable with the ball at your feet, then yeah, you got to be honest and say, well, yeah, I'll try my best. I'll carry on going. And he did try. As soon as the ball's kind of out, he's sprinting without feeling any kind of discomfort. And then, yeah, it might be a little touch with the ball, and then all of a sudden you can feel it. Am I concerned about it? I don't think I am.
No, I think we've got. I think we've got enough. It's just It's just you'd say that drop off. But if Nelson can perform like that midweek, because hopefully he'll be back for Chelsea, Saka, but depends on the severity of the injury, of course. But you're looking at we've got people in there that can play in there, and squad depth wise, we're not doing too bad. Also, considering that we're considered to have one of the worst squad depths out there, we're top of the league. We're only 7 goals behind City, and we're the only team in the league to have scored in every Premier League game we've played. So that says something about us. We've got, as I said, we've got the second best attack and the joint second best defensive record. Only Newcastle are better, and we're tied with City, Tottenham, and it was Chelsea until yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it's, and if you look at the table, we're 5 points ahead of Tottenham with a game in hand. We're 7 points ahead of Newcastle with a game in hand. We're 10 points ahead of Chelsea. We play them next week. If we beat them next week, we go 13 points ahead of them. We're starting to put a bit of a gap between those also rans now. We're starting to put that pressure on those also rans.
Yeah, what I look at it, and I'd say, and I'll always get pelters about saying that I'm accepting mediocrity or anything like that. But I look at where we've set ourselves, what goals we set ourselves at the start of the season, and a lot of fans will be lying if they said that well, after 12 games we'll be top of the league and we'll be saying that we're part of a championship running team or fighting for the title. I still don't think anyone can be said about that they are in a championship team after 12 games. I think there's too much of the season.
I think you start looking at the table seriously around about 23 games because the league has settled down, and you'll generally get that position won't fluctuate too much from that point onwards.
Yeah, I look at that gap between us and fifth place, and that's the barometer. Obviously, we want to improve, and we know last season it was fine margins. One win, one change of result in one of those home games, we'd have been in Champions League.
Yeah,
it's not because of an implosion. It's not because of anything. One of those games would have sealed.
Yeah, the Burnley game, the Burnley draw at home, get the 3 points there, and
Brighton at home, and you look at those that kind of period of games, and you're suddenly thinking that was it. We had 14 players at the end of the season, and by hook or crook or the reasons why we ended up with it, that's where we ended up. We got dealt cards, and they weren't the right cards. They were it was an unlucky hand. We got injuries at the wrong time. And yeah, we struggled at the end, and physically we weren't able to deal with it. And I don't think it was because we bottled it, we'd done this, because we literally were on our last legs. Had we have got those points at the time when we didn't actually have those injuries, and they weren't looking as grim as it was towards the end of the season, then we wouldn't have been worrying about those kind of last couple of games because the points would have been in the bag. But we now look at this season, and you're suddenly thinking, yeah, we are going for Champions League football. That is our aim. We want to get back into Champions League football first and foremost. Anything else above that
is a bonus, isn't it?
Is a bonus, and let's ride with it. Let's take it as it is, but let's not beat down on.
Yeah. My thing was that we needed. We should to be realistic. You want to be mid 80 points onwards, and that guarantees you Champions League points. And that was we were about 16 points off that. So I was looking at getting 4 more away wins because we only had 9, and that was the 6th best last season in the league. We were third best in the league for home performances with 13 wins. So if we can keep our home form from last season and improve on our away form, then we've got every chance. And so far, I don't think we can look at it and say that we've been in a bad position, because even the United game, you look at that and you think, other than a few defensive laps, being defensively poor and not being on it up front, we were, performance wise, we outperformed United. We just didn't get the result to go with it.
No,
So and you look, I mean, as I said, we're supposed to have a worse squad, and yet we're 10-1-1, and City, who everyone was saying going to romp it this season, me included, I thought they'd will win the league this season, and a 9-2-1. So they've got points when they weren't expecting. And yesterday they had to grind out a draw. They weren't at their best, and they didn't have Haaland, and they struggled.
yeah,
but they still got
big out results, haven't you? And
they
that's
put the pressure on us, and we responded.
yeah, we can respond, but yeah, again, do we question what is what is our level this season? I'm pretty certain it isn't.
Well,
We
for
we are.
the start of the season, we weren't ever being about title challenges. Where if we're totally honest, I had City at 101 points, Liverpool around about 98, and us between 86 and 90 points.
Yeah,
and that's where I wanted us to be at the end of the season. Now Liverpool have just self imploded this season, so now I'm looking at, why can't we be the best of the rest?
well, that's it. Again, this is what I said. We have to aim to be the best of our best of the rest.
Yeah,
Certainly over previous times, it should be Liverpool and City fighting it out. That they have proved over years with the points totals that they've had, that they are miles above where we've been.
yeah.
Liverpool,
My thing is, can at the end of the season, City be on 90, say 96, 97 points? Can we be in that 90-point bracket, or around that, close to that 90-point bracket? Because then next season, it's not such a jump to be challenging them, is it?
well, no, again, but that having that points total as well makes certain that you've improved in your consistency,
Yeah.
and that's been part of why we haven't done what we should have been doing through the years, because that consistency's just not been there. So, yeah, it will be telling to see how far we've come, but it will also show that that consistency is coming back, and that expected level of performance is improving. And obviously, the most important part of that is certainly with the away games, and improving that kind of form. So that I think that's my telling factor on how we do this year. I think as a whole at home, I think we've got it pretty much nailed. I think every game we play at home, we are looking like we get a result. We can get the job done, top six or not. And I think that's just the way we are with our focus and our play. Away from home, that's where still those questions are. Obviously, we've seen obviously our poorest games away from home this season. Again, I think you don't need to quote me on it, but I think that's what it is, isn't it? I think those games.
Well, let's be honest. The only place we went, the only place we haven't done anything away was United. Every other team we played away this season, and again, you discount Leeds because we won there last season, but the Palace, the Brentford, the Southampton, we didn't pick up any points there last season.
Yep.
We have this season.
That's it. So you'll pick up points that we didn't, but then suddenly we'll go through. Well, even you look at Southampton, and I know it was the second game of a Jekyll and Hyde kind of performance where one half was really good and one wasn't. And then, yeah, you just look at it. Had we taken the chances in that half that was really good, then there might be a different game in total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My,
And it's
my,
the same. I think it's the same with the PSV game. As bad as it was, and I've written it off as a game where one team wanted it, one team didn't really want it. And had we, I think there was one real chance in the first half that we had. I don't know if it was Martinelli or was it Martinelli where he tried to chest the ball down and then volley it, and he volleyed it over. And you're just suddenly thinking, yeah, if that ball just come over and he just volleyed it as it was coming down, then he might have got power on it, and the direction it might have gone in. And you're suddenly thinking, had we got that first goal, then who knows? PSV played well that game, but you never know. Goals change matches and set tones, but after they got the goals, and certainly the disallowed goals, that gave them a little sense of belief. And yeah, we never really got ourselves up for that game,
no.
in all honesty, after that. So
I've got a quick question before we go out.
Yeah.
Don't do anything else. The last few games, there's been, and I've seen it through other platforms, questions about Tomiyasu at left back. Oh, it should. We need to stop that experiment. It's not thing. Yet today, when you saw that team sheet, were you happy with that Tomiyasu being in above Tierney?
Yes, I am. I can see why he is, and then I can also see other arguments why maybe Tierney should come in as well, because Tierney obviously is the natural on the left, but I think Tomiyasu provides a bit more assurance, a bit more coverage.
Yeah, you see, for me, Tomiyasu is our best one-on-one defender in the team, and he's not going to go and be your overlapping and marauding left back, but he offers a solidity to that team that we don't always have. If you have Zinchenko or Tierney there.
Yeah. No, another thing I say about it, and this is the dynamic of the team, and I know we seem to we like to focus a lot on our left side, and that means our left-sided player goes up and gets involved with play. Martinelli, it always, and it was the same with Tierney. The balls, the runs up the line. And then when he goes forward, you had Tomiyasu kind of join the centre backs and become the free to provide a bit of cover. Now, if Tomiyasu's playing on the left, I'm now expecting maybe a Ben White to be playing a little bit further forward to then go and support a Saka. So you're looking at a mirror image on the way we play. So rather than being totally dependent on one side or more scaled on one side on the left, that we're actually trying to maybe start utilising the right-hand side a bit more. Don't think it works like that always, because, but I think there's still a lot of play played down on that left with Martinelli. But I think that is another potential way that we could use it. Certainly using that right-hand side and getting forward, because, obviously Tomiyasu being on the right last season was that foil. And he never used to really get up that far. And I don't know. I think it might just be a way of just kind of just freeing it up a little bit and get the opponents guessing a bit more. But I just think Tierney just is, I don't know, just caught in a crossroads at the minute where he can't do what he's being asked to do properly, like say a Zinchenko or the others, and just tucking in, because it isn't his role. He wants to get forward, he wants to get wide, and he wants to go up the line and get the balls in, cross the balls in. And at the minute, again, it could be still finding his feet, struggling still fitness wise from the time he has been out, because it does take a lot.
And it could also be a little bit of clever management from Arteta, knowing that we're going into a World Cup, and actually, out of out of our left backs, Tierney and Sinchenko will be rested, so that actually, when it comes to coming back, those are the two players that we're going to rely on heavy in that period of time, because Tomiyasu will be away with Japan. White could be going with England because of injuries to England fullbacks at the moment. So it could be that he's looking at it and thinking, if I manage Tierney now, I'm going to have him come the business end of the season, because last season when we got to the business end, we were without both our first choice fullbacks and we struggled.
Yeah, I think you can look back on the archives of some of my videos, and I said before the start of the season, I think obviously this is a really weird season for everyone, and how this is kind of two seasons rolled into one, before the World Cup and after the World Cup.
Yeah.
And
I think that January to March period that's when you'll know where we are.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, there's going to be huge amounts of games, but I had it the other way around. I thought these players that weren't or had been injured for a long term would have been saved, and I didn't think you'd have the game time like they've probably have. Well, you'd say game time they've had. They've not had a huge amount, but yeah, Tomiyasu and Tierney coming back from their injuries, they would be kind of sparingly used until after the World Cup. And then that's it. Then that's it. So you'd have almost a switch. So you'd have, say, like a couple of players playing on that first part, and then you'd suddenly see a switch over in after the World Cup, when they've now had further months of recuperation and get it back into it. Obviously, I think this kind of World Cup kind of break is going to be quite good for the players that are not involved as well, because it's going to be a nice bit of warm weather training with probably some friendlies along the way to keep them going. So, I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good to see them all come back after the World Cup, and hopefully, obviously Saka not being too badly done. I think it's more just rest. I don't think he'll be playing on Thursday. I think Nelson's probably earned himself.
It depends on what that injury was, because I don't know if Arteta's come out and given an update yet. But it looked to me like a twist or a sprain.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think when he hit him, he went over on it, so it's either a twist or a sprain on it, where he's gone over from that contact, because he went over like that on it.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. It could. I mean, it might be a little bit of damage round that ankle ligament, but it's
what's telling is he went straight down the tunnel afterwards. So that's always an indication that they want to get it checked out quickly and see what the damage is. But I thought it was more just contact, but if he has gone down, I haven't seen all the replays on it. So
from the only replay I've seen, he's caught him and he's gone down, but the way he's gone down at the same time, and he never really fully recovered, because he got up, did a bit of a sprint afterwards, but then he was hobbling and moving around, and then he would move freely again, and then he was struggling with it again, and then when he went for that volley, when he came down, that was it for him. I think he was looking and hoping to run it off and just couldn't.
No, that's it. No, let's hope for the best anyway. Right, Richard, we're going to go into the live chat.
Let's do. I know Lynn was on before we started. She was nice and early.
It's all good. It's all good. Ashley D is or was in the house. Whether or not he's still there, hopefully he is.
Well, he should be. He's our mod. He's our number one mod.
Hopefully he's keeping control.
he's pretty good.
Lynn says evening, Ashley. She's not saying evening to us either, is she?
She said earlier on before the show
Oh,
started,
that's all right then. We were late.
she
We
said
were late.
evening all. So
Evening, Lynn. Nice to have you back on with us again.
yeah, and maybe we can get you actually onto the Thursday night show, Lynn. Actually, come on and join Ange and I.
Definitely get involved. Conversation Club. Good evening, all. Are we at all worried about the Saka injury? Could it have been avoided? Again, I think again it's more impact rather than overuse. Again, it's a challenge. It's a tackle that's come in. You could do it whether or not you've played 3 minutes or 300 minutes. You think you can be worried just because we know how injuries can look innocuous to actually being something that could be quite serious. So we don't know. We are worried.
And no, it can't be avoided. There's only two ways you can avoid it. You don't play him, or referees start protecting players like not just Saka, but all players that like that.
But it's then consistency, isn't it?
Yeah. But they set that threshold higher, and I mean I think Gibbs White one on Xhaka was a lot worse than the Lodel one on Saka. Even though the Gibbs White got the ball, his follow through was studs onto Xhaka's ankle. So and it was that should have been a yellow. But again, you can't sort of accommodate all possibilities. Something can happen in a game that you can't legislate for.
No, I look at those kind of avoided injuries. I think those kind of injuries where you suddenly say about overuse. I think that's all down to muscle damage. And if you're suddenly seeing a player just pulling up with a hamstring or something like that, that's when you kind of know, you're right. You're playing into the red zone. You're playing into that kind of area where you probably shouldn't be doing it. And by that pulling or tearing shows that that's too much. And but that's it. But when you're worrying about whether or not someone's going to get clobbered, let's say it's week in week out that he gets taken out. So it was only a matter of time.
Wasn't it last a couple of seasons ago where one of our defenders jumped in the air for a ball landed and did his on the landing twisted his knee and did his ACL. I mean, so you sometimes you just get an injury.
Welbeck done that as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So there are times you're going to get something where you just land awkwardly from a jump and injure yourself, and you can't legislate for those. But the ones that you can avoid are the ones through overplaying, because you've got the data. You know, the doctors then should be saying to and the medical team are then saying to Arteta, he needs to be rested. He needs to be used sparingly. You've got to manage your squad properly. And if Arteta doesn't at that point, then that's on him. But and the other ones you can't help is when an opposing player just injures through recklessness and dangerous play. They can't be avoided either.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, so I think we answered that. It's never nice, but hopefully it isn't too bad. the Conversation Club.
Yeah,
So
get him a week's rest and get him ready for the Chelsea
yeah,
game.
that's it. I'd be wrapping him up in cotton wool. I'd be giving him as many ice baths as possible, and
Get in
I'll
that
give him,
cryo chamber.
I'll give him all the heat treatment he needs and everything like that. Not me personally, but yeah, I'd kind of certainly go in there with maybe a hot towel for him or something like that, and just
Fuck it, I'd stand there and hold him in that cryo chamber for 3 days.
yeah, whatever. You just get a fan and start just fanning him down. And I don't mind. This Bukayo Saka, I'd do anything to make sure he gets ready for Chelsea. So
A little bit of acupuncture.
yeah, so yeah, no, hopefully he'll be fine. And so yeah, a little break from Thursday's game might be a good little rest, and then yeah, hopefully he comes back on Sunday for some part. Let's have a look. Oscar on Facebook. Arsenal is the best.
Yeah,
How you doing, Oscar?
Definitely, yeah. Oscar, always the best, no matter the result.
Ashley D says hi, Lynn. And then tired evening, everyone. Yeah, Lynn says no. I think it may be a slight knock, but how REISS performed today. If he has to play on Sunday against Chelsea and he could put in another performance like today, I'd be happy. Yeah, I think REISS, and Dennis was saying it was brought up on the turnstiles actually today, and it was like that he's come in and yeah, he's got 1 year left on his contract, and yeah, I don't think there was any question about his ability as a player.
It's just about his application and his consistency now, isn't
it? Everyone knew the level that he could potentially be, but yeah, it is unfortunately that kind of thing with youngsters, and it is. Has he got the right mentality and the right head on his shoulders to deal with week in week out kind of performance, certainly at a high level? That was questioned, but yeah, just and then that consistency to back that one up. And yeah, I think by going away on loan last season, probably done him a good thing as well, because it's given him a change of scenario, a change of.
And he had to kick up the backside at the start, didn't he? Because he wasn't getting in. He was told he wasn't fit enough, and he needed to work harder. And he's had a look at that, and he forced himself into that side in the end.
Of course, I think Arteta's put a lot of trust in him as well by bringing him back, and it's up to REISS now to show and prove Arteta right to back him. Because yeah, obviously everyone crying out about getting a right-sided player in and yeah, creating the competition for Saka, but yeah, when we've had someone back from on loan and an unknown quantity still in whether or not he can do it or not. If he goes and puts in a performance like he did today and looked busy and looked like he had an end product and yeah, just looked dangerous. I think just from the movement and getting in and around the dangerous areas in front of the defenders for his second goal, comes across the defender and then flicks the ball in. Yeah, really good. And if he can prove that,
his first shot for the first goal was poor, but he got the rebound and he made no mistake. And after that, he was not.
Hold on. I'm going to pull you up on that one. I'm going to pull you up on that. That first shot, if you looked, or you probably took a photo of that goal when he took that shot, first of all, you've got the goalkeeper, you've then got defender 1 next to him, and then defender 2 right there. So he's got an instant to take a shot, and obviously he's literally, there ain't much of the goal to aim for. What I found the best of that was that second shot was put in a position that was, you know what I mean? There were two defenders on the line as well, and it was out of reach of all of them.
Yeah, and that I was pleased with. He put the rebound away with, and
yeah,
I like the other thing I liked was that back heel to Jesus, intended back heel to Jesus later on in the game.
They were trying so hard. They were trying so hard to get him a goal, and it wasn't just him. There were a lot of players just trying to get it on the plate, and and he nearly got there, and he nearly had it. It was a good little save. I think he played a pass, and I think he got saved by Henderson.
Yeah, but
Um,
I mean, even though he didn't get a goal, he had 2 assists today, which you
it's all round contributions.
yeah.
I don't care. I don't care about
And
the
at one
goal.
stage, he was the furthest player back in the left back role, winning the ball back, and it's what he does all over a team. That energy and that determination to be to harass and harry players on the ball and win the ball back.
No, of course. All right, Alex has replied to Conversation Club. I have to say I'm not pleased with Saka injury. We do need to manage the player better. Yeah, again.
It's a hard one because I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's a fatigue injury. I think it's down to the impact of the collision as forced the injury rather than him just. It's not a hamstring strain. It's not a calf strain.
Yeah, with most things, you cannot avoid them, just like this, but you can minimise the possibility from him getting injured.
Yeah,
you can. But as I say, again, the medical teams that we've got and the medical team that are around the players, I don't think there's any real kind of, in my opinion, with the amount of money that's bandied around the whole setup, that players are going to be played when they're totally burnt or they're struggling and they shouldn't be playing. I think you've also got to look at potentially the insurance side of things as well from players. If a medical player, if the medical team's saying that there's an injury or there's a potential red flag, and then that manager goes and plays them, then I'm sure there's pretty much some form of issue with regards to obviously insurance side of things.
yeah. Well, this is where I'd like to see when a player. It doesn't matter what the country the player's going away for, because we're getting a lot of meaningless, unnecessary international friendlies. But there's if they get go away. There's a compensation package.
Yeah,
If
about a lot of time.
any team loses a player for any length of time due to an injury while on international duty.
No,
So,
of course,
but yeah, I mean, it's really hard because how do you fully protect it? And I don't think the ref had a bad game today. In fact, I thought the ref was pretty decent. He's been one of the better referees that we've had.
I thought he let play go quite well, and
Yeah.
there were a couple of times where a couple of Forest players went down looking for fouls. Didn't happen. Yeah, he didn't give for a couple for us as well, but he wanted to allow the game to move on. And
He was better. He was better than Rob Jones last week, who had an atrocious game. And there are a few games this season where some of those fouls on players like Jesus and Saka and even Martinelli. I mean, was it the Tottenham game? Royale's pushing it right in the back, and there's been a few like that. But you've got that.
That's crazy. There's some of the things when you look at it and you think decisions that are given for us.
Didn't we have that with Lichtsteiner a few years ago, where he got pushed into the hoardings and ended up never playing for us again?
Well, I think the biggest one you can look at is that penalty against the Tottenham with Son at the back post, and then you look at the one against Tierney at Southampton. It was Southampton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Tierney one never got replayed. Didn't get any kind of VAR coverage. Didn't get any kind of But you heard the thud of him whacking into Tierney when he was in the air. And you're thinking that was more of a penalty or more contact than what that Son was, and one was given a penalty and one wasn't.
And I noticed that on the ref watch from Dermot Gallagher. The only thing, they only decision in that Arsenal game he looked at was the Jesus penalty. They never looked at any of the other
Yeah,
decisions
that's
that ref
right.
made.
I can't, but I'm sure that if it was the other way around, they'd be studying it for about 6 minutes to try and find the way to give someone else a penalty. But that's it. That's another day. Tired said, yeah, conversation house. We have to be worried. He is one of many key players. Saka is always targeted. He gets so many hits, but refs turn a blind eye. But he always comes back. Yeah, he does. He gets up, and but again, that's the best way to go and do it. If you're getting wronged on, you go and make sure you try and prove them right. And there will come to a point where there's just too much. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it'll be too late. And we've seen it with other players. Look, Antonio Reyes, RIP. He got absolutely clattered every time he come out against Man United and other teams just because of how he was and what a player. And yeah, there was no protection then for him, and he weren't strong enough to stay in and stay around the Premier League. But Saka being English, he's going to be around here. But again, referees have got to do something better, more to protect these players, and it isn't just an Arsenal thing; it's other young players as well.
Yeah,
That
it's always attacking players. You have to defend, but there needs to be a look at a responsibility on the defending player when going in to a tackle. If you're reckless and you're dangerous, then you need to be there needs to be retribution in forms of yellows and reds. If it's a fair enough challenge, that's fine. But if you're making a challenge and you know that there's going to be a risk that your follow through is going to injure a player, and you can do something to stop that, then there needs to be something looked at.
Yeah, no, I think the other silly rule is that you can't, or they won't review anything that's had a yellow card. So if a referee gives a yellow card for something, they can't go back through it after the game and then say, oh no, that should have been a red.
Yeah.
I think that should be highlighted.
It should go to
VAR either.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. I think, or something like that. I think it works out something like that. If they're given a yellow card for some offence, they've seen it, they won't go back to VAR to re-referee.
That's when it should be able to go back to a panel and be reviewed after the game.
Yeah, it's
silly, but I mean, you used to have it before VAR, but now because we got VAR, you don't get to do that.
Yeah, more issues. So, Lynn, I agree with you. Are we managing Saka better? However, this is why we have club doctors and physios to keep this in check. Yeah, exactly what we said, Lynn. I think it's reckless and totally irresponsible from a medical professional as well to be overruled by anyone in a club. Certainly with that much at stake, with the money that's banded around. So, yeah, I think leave those decisions to the professionals and get behind supporting the team and let those people managing the team get on and put the best team out that they can. If they're unable to play and get involved, then they can't play. That's it. But that should be the whole trust from the whole club, top to bottom. John the Gooner is in the house. Evening, Gooners. It's great to be a Gooner.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It is today, John. Tired. So I am really disappointed with Vieira. He is really skillful. Does he need time to adjust to the Premier League?
He just needs game time and to adjust to a Premier League. You've got to remember he didn't get a pre-season. And Arteta's managing him well. He's giving him the game time in the Europa, getting him the minutes as sub now, and he's slowly building up and getting used to the Premier League and the team. It will come, and it will probably be after Christmas again. But I think that's management down, Arteta's management down to that. You've got to remember also he's not physically the biggest. And he's already said Arteta and the coaching team have told him he needs to and given him extra gym sessions to bulk up and get a bit more physicality about him.
Needs
But
a few
it will
kilo
come.
steaks, doesn't he?
He's shown some really nice touches. He's got a lovely pass on him, and he can make passes that I don't think Odegaard can do. And he will take a shot that Odegaard might not necessarily do. So it's good to have that option. And there is a case that you could put both of them against a lower team in an FA Cup, just to unlock teams and give Xhaka a rest. And you wouldn't need Xhaka in there necessarily. He offers something slightly different.
Yeah, I think we've not found where he's going to be really fitting in the team. In all honesty, I think there's no real kind of position set for him, and I think it is mainly because I don't think he has got that physicality, like you said, Richard. He is slight, and coming to the Premier League is a big step up, certainly from Portuguese league. So it is going to take him time, and it probably wasn't a signing to suddenly just come in and suddenly make a difference, because these players do take a bit of time to come in, certainly to a new kind of environment, and new league, way of life, weather conditions again. I'll put that. What's he going to be like in January when he comes back from Dubai, when he's done his warm weather training, to come back to snow and ice?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Is what is he, 21?
Yeah, it's 21, 22.
He's 21. He's moved from his home country to England. He's got to learn the language. He's got to fit into his new team and adapt to his new team. He's got to adapt to probably the fastest and hardest league in the world, and learn a new culture as well. So there's a lot of things he's got to adjust to, and some players do that immediately, and some don't. But as I said, I'd rather in 6 months, just after the World Cup, that we start seeing him more, and he starts showing that quality we know he has.
Yeah, no, of course. Alex said, would I say Patino and Vieira similar? Yeah, it's still early to say how Patino will develop further. Obviously, still very young. I think he's still got 2, maybe 3 more loan spells to probably get under his belt before he could be considered probably an Arsenal first teamer. I think getting him up to about 18 or 19, 20 to then unleash him on potentially a first team position may be better suited. And obviously he's at Blackpool now.
He's doing well there as well.
Doing there, yeah. No, it's good. And if he can do that and then potentially go to another championship, and maybe another spell in the championship.
Yeah. You see, I see him as a Santi Cazorla sort of, and I see him maybe possibly in that party role as well, where he picks the ball up, he gets it, and he's got that ability just to keep the ball ticking over and getting through the lines. He's pretty decent, but I think anywhere in that midfield three he could fit quite easily. We'll have to see how he does at Blackpool, and then it'll be what he does next season, pre-season, and then what Arteta decides. He is really still only what 18, 17, 18, I think. He's quite young, isn't he?
Yeah, must have turned 17. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure he's eight. I'm not sure if he's 18 or not. He
So
scored.
so
He scored when he was 16, didn't he?
yeah, so it
Against
must be 17. Yeah,
Sunderland, wasn't it?
yeah, Sunderland. So
Yeah. Um, yeah. As a
he's
player, I
got
think.
time on his hand, and originally he wasn't going out on loan, but we decided this year he wasn't going to get that time, game time. So, and he's gone to Blackpool under a decent coach and is thriving. So,
Yeah.
and
No,
he's
I think it's good just to see him develop and yeah, just get that game time. And with that game time, he's going to get used to a bit of rough and tumble as well, and it'll develop that physicality.
yeah. And next
The
season, I'd
championship
like to
isn't.
see him in the Premier League in a lower league side,
Yeah,
to,
yeah. So
because that's the next
he could have
progression, isn't
another
it?
championship
Or
season next
a
year.
championship side looking to be challenging to come up,
Yeah,
something like
no,
that. Even yeah.
no, definitely. But yeah, no, there are similarities. I like the fact that they both like to try and get the ball forward and try to look and run. I don't think we've seen a lot from Vieira, but I think that's what we're expecting him to be like as a player because yeah, again we need to get that kind of balance right in our midfield because yeah, at the minute we know our first kind of setup for midfield, but then when those other players are not there, who takes say Xhaka's role, who you know what I mean, and does it well, as with the other ones. If Odegaard's not there, well, and we've obviously know the issues with Partey not being there.
Yeah.
Um,
And now and then he's back in training now as well, so that will help. Whether he'll get any minutes now between now and the World Cup, it will depend on how fit he is, isn't it?
yeah, no, of course. So no, I think that'll be a little slow boiler as well. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe for the cup game against Brighton. Yeah, Lynn. This is where the ref last week was a disgrace compared to this week.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was the guy. I'm surprised there hasn't been anything mentioned by the ref group.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
it doesn't surprise
did
me.
you know that Simon Hooper has played as ref Southampton 4 times this season, and they haven't lost a game with him in charge?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think they're. Yeah, I don't think there's anything too much on that, but
No, but it'd be interesting to see if they were at home or away, because there are stats out there that John Moss favours the home side, and gives decisions to the home side 65% of the time. Paul Tierney is on the other end of the scale is on the same end of the scale, but for away teams. So
yeah,
if you're if you're if we if other fans and other people can get that information and make those calculations, surely PGMO can see and and question why there's that home or away bias, and then balance it out through a season for teams.
yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I
Yeah,
don't believe there's a bias against any one team. It's just uh, that some refs will lean more towards more to the home side, and some will give more of a consideration to the away sides, and it's just a way that they're wired, like any human being.
yeah.
Uh,
No, cool. No, that's all right. Yeah, Jack Stone. Evening, Jack. Hope you're well.
Evening, Jack. Yeah,
Yeah, good show. Good win. Keep the vibes alive. Yeah.
yeah.
Keep it going.
And going to that win today, what I liked is usually we go 2-3 goals up, and that's it. We relax and we don't we don't go for the kill. Today, we went for that fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. We didn't get those extra, but we actually went for the throat and tried to rip it out today rather than. Uh, so that was nice to see,
Yeah,
because that's something that when you had the the team for the Invincibles, and even before, you'd go to a Reading, you'd be 3-0 up, and then they go on and win by 7 or 8, and they had that ruthlessness. Today we showed a bit of that ruthlessness that we haven't in previous seasons,
yeah,
and I like that, and I think that's something that we need to do more of.
yeah. That was one
When
of the
you,
things with Wenger, wasn't it? And
yeah,
it was one of those that was always banded that we didn't really kind of go for the throat and really just take the mick, like Man United used to do to us, like when we had our off days at Old Trafford,
yeah,
and we'd come away with a proper
yeah.
spanking.
Like City and Man United have done that. Southampton,
Yeah,
they've gone 2 or 3 up in the first half, and they've gone on to win 8-9-0. That's that's what we need to develop in a lot of games. And there've been a few this last season and a few this season. We've coasted to a 3-0 half time win, and then after that it's sort of been, we don't need to do anything else. We've won this game.
yeah, no,
Whereas,
definitely. I thought if we go back to that game and obviously go through the goals, just have a quick break from
yeah,
the live chat, and yeah, that goal on 5 minutes with Martinelli.
well, that was brilliant. It was a brilliant cross from Saka, but Martinelli, the desire and the bravery to get his head to the ball before the Notts Forest player was
Yeah,
thing. You can't knock that, can you? I mean,
no, it was
you don't get many
me being where
diving
I
headers
was.
now, but
That cross that come over, it was just nice just for him to get in, and then there
yeah,
was all that talk about Martinelli being probably the best with the head as well, and him taking set pieces. I think there was a an Arseblog interview with Philippe Auclair, and he was talking about Martinelli being really good in the air and why he's taking set pieces and stuff, and yeah, then him getting on the end of a cross with his head as well. It was quite fitting in that way, where it was just quite nice just to see him get on the score sheet. But then we hit half time. I think the word in the dressing room would have been sort yourselves out and get on it, and yeah, do it properly. I think we know Arteta's choice words. Yeah, knew there was a good atmosphere in the stadium. Go and do it for the fans, and yeah, 3 goals in 8 minutes, or certainly the first 12 minutes of the second half ended up being be three goals, and yeah,
yeah, I think those two
Nelson.
quick fire goals really killed the game. Then didn't it? That was at that point the result was never in doubt. I mean,
Yeah,
well, I've spoken about Nelson's first goal, uh, but that second was pure class. The way he opened his foot to steer it into the opposite corner, out of Henderson's reach. It, it was that showed quality.
yeah, it was the movement, just almost getting in front of the defender as well. I think
Yeah,
the way it just come through, come across, and then yeah, using the pace on the ball that comes across, and he's guided it in, isn't he?
yeah,
And it was just yeah, just nice to see a bit of, because it was a nice bit of movement as well before that. There was a nice little interchange of passing, and to have a
yeah.
bit of end
Between
product.
Odegaard and Jesus, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
Odegaard looked sharp all game,
yeah,
and a lot of people have given him a little bit of negativity and stuff about going missing, but he does do a lot of stuff that people don't
Yeah,
seem
it's that
to.
all that running off the ball, the pressing, the running back. He's all over that pitch if you look at his
Yeah,
heat maps, which is
and
pretty impressive.
he capped it off by scoring the fifth goal,
Yeah,
and it was a really good goal. The way he moved the
it's
ball,
nearly as good as Parties, wasn't it?
yeah, and Party done what he done
Against Tottenham.
against Tottenham. And you think he did revert to type though, because he did have a shot afterwards, and that went into block, into the upper tier.
Into Rosie,
So
yeah.
yeah, he had a shot. He had a normal lace shot, which went high and wide. Well, not wide, but just high. And but yeah, that kind of just stepping onto its side foot into the goal, and it was just nice. It looks really comfortable for him. That kind of finish. He strolls onto it and it just curls it. Just literally just sticks his side foot on it straight in, and
He
keeper had
beat
no
Henderson
chance.
all ends up, didn't he?
Yeah, there was no chance. Once that goes in, it's uh, yeah. You could just see it as soon as the ball arcs from his foot. It's going in, and you can just tell that's going to be close, and it was. It was a great finish, and yeah, no, pleased for him. So at least he's getting a couple of goals to his name. But yeah, Odegaard, I think he needed the goal as well, just for his sake. I think his confidence as well, and the movement, and with the ball at his feet, to just move the ball away from the defender to give him the space, and to put it in where he did was really good as well. So overall, really happy, really pleased with the performance, and we've done what we needed to do.
Yeah, and I also think that if you look at that, Henderson you had Henderson made some really good saves. There was a block on the line from Martinelli's shot. So that, as I said, that score could have been 7-8, 9-0, if not for the keeper and some decent blocks in the box from Forest. So you've got to say that was almost an immaculate performance, apart from about a 20-30 minute period where we got a little bit sloppy in that first half.
Yeah, no, definitely, Richard. Yeah, we're going to kind of look to start wrapping up, so I'm going to fly through the chat. Glenwyn's in the house. Comedy Gunners, great result today from the lads. Hey, Paul and Richard. Yeah,
Hi, Glenwyn.
It's Glenwyn. Well done, mate. Hope you're well.
Yeah, hope you're not too tired, because I think they're 2 hours ahead, so it's like 10 o'clock, isn't it?
10 o'clock. We'll have him on at one
Yeah,
Sunday.
that would be cool.
Definitely have him on soon.
Him and Gary.
So tired. Martinelli was a complete different player to PSV game. He's been super consistent, but I've noticed in Europe he's been very quiet. Do you know why this is? Again, I think, tired. This is to do with, and I've said this with Nketiah. You're kind of almost playing an experimental kind of shape or lineup, because you're not playing a first team. You're not really playing a second team.
Yeah, you're playing players who aren't getting regular minutes, and
Yeah.
you can't get any consistency or any rhythm to your game if you're not playing regularly.
Yeah, I'll
Because
say
whatever you
Martinelli.
do out on that training pitch isn't the same as being in a real match.
Yeah, I think no one. It was a totally different performance. There was no one favourable in that PSV game, so it was totally different from everyone. Everyone else looked assured this game. But as I say, with Nketiah, again, he come on 15 minutes. Probably had about 7 minutes of ball time.
Yeah, I think for the first 8 minutes he didn't get a touch, did he?
That's it. It was all like all over the shop, and it was just like there was nothing. But then by the time when he comes on, and you're kind of saying, yeah, you want him to make a difference. So then when he's got then an experimental kind of group that he's now playing with the substitutions and everything like that, then you're not really gonna be at the best chance. You're not like you're playing with your top players in the squad. You're playing with players that are coming on just for game time and winding the clock down again. So yeah, in all honesty, it's yeah.
And Martinelli seems to work really well with Jesus, doesn't he? They've clicked and got an understanding straight away. So without Jesus on that pitch, he doesn't necessarily click with Nketiah, as they haven't got that understanding
Well,
necessarily.
we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Again, we haven't seen it really. We've not seen that potential to really get everyone playing and then have him through. We saw it in periods last season when he come on, and we go back to Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
There is chemistry there, but he hasn't had that chance yet. So we don't know. Again, it's going to come down to a point where he's either going to be given the chance or not given the chance, and whether or not a booking. Not so much. Obviously, didn't get booked today, so he's playing against Chelsea. He'll probably go for the whole season without a booking now, Jesus.
Yeah. Or the good one would be to get it in a Chelsea game and maybe just for the wall, just so he misses that Wolves game.
Well, yeah, don't want to book it anyway.
Nice and simple before the World Cup, come back and start afresh.
Yeah. So Lynn said, yeah, I know we played very well today, but Forest did make it easy for us. I thought they would have been more assertive, but they seemed to back off.
No, they played in the last couple of games. They played the low block, and it's worked well for them.
Yeah.
They were defensively weak against Liverpool on set pieces, but they seem to have slightly improved that. But the idea was to stay in the game for about 85 minutes and try and nick a goal if they were still in the game. Unfortunately for them, those two quick Reece Nelson goals put that game plan out of bed. And for a little while in that second half, he made two offensive substitutions to try and get back in the game. It didn't work, and we got a couple more, and then he reverted back to a more defensive, so he didn't get a bigger thrashing. But it's hard. You've got to remember, Forest have had lost 18 players in the summer, and he's had 22 new players come in. So he's got to get that team gel. He's got to figure out who his best team are, and what formation suits them. So they're struggling, but I think Cooper's a decent manager, and he'll get it right. It'll get right for him.
Yeah, it'll be time.
I think our superior quality told today. To be honest, that's it. It's not a surprise that the only other two teams to have given them a thumping are Leicester and Man City.
Yeah. I'd say Ty had said, yeah, Forest did that, played like they did against Liverpool, defensive. Yeah, they're here to try and get as many points as they can, and the best chance of getting points is to probably look for a draw, certainly away from home, and be hard to beat. And yeah, they tried to a certain degree in the first half, but sadly that was undone within 5 minutes with Saka's goal. So, well, not Saka's goal, so Martinelli's goal. So so that kind of took the game plan out of what they were trying to do. But I think more and more as the game went on, they kind of dropped back into a real kind of like solid like five in midfield and tried to really kind of squeeze the space. Hence why it then become a bit harder for us to get a grip in that first half. And it weren't until obviously after the second half, after half time, that we got the breakthrough.
Yeah, I think teams have done that to us historically for a long time. They've sat back in a low block because they've known we haven't been able to cope with that. But we have started to learn how to deal with that. Party and we're starting to take those shots from outside the box to get around that, because they tend to defend their box really well and get the blocks in. But
It's
that
not
one,
even just that, is it? It's
yeah,
the low block, and it's looking to kind of soak up the pressure and then spring on us on the transition.
yeah.
And
But
that's
Saliba and Gabriel today on the trip were immense. They dealt with everything that came over the top and were first to most of those balls. So
yeah, no, definitely. They were a lot more short today, anyway. Tired, do you now believe the break of World Cup is a good thing for Arsenal?
no, not if I'm honest right now. In the form we're in, I'd rather go up to Boxing Day, and then into January and have a full season, uh, uh, and, and not have another not have a break, because we're in such a good run of form.
Yeah,
We know, and we've been here before, and it will affect all teams, I know. But you go away, you come back from an international break, and you've got to get that re-gel with the team. You've got to get that rhythm, and you've got to get that match sharpness back.
but let's
And
look at this. So we're top of the league.
mm,
We come
and we
back.
could be top of the league by the
We
time
come
we
back
go.
after opening our Christmas presents, and we go into Boxing Day.
Is it
We
West Ham?
have a fit Emil Smith Rowe. We have a fit Mohamed El Neni.
And
We have a fit
Zinchenko,
Zinchenko.
because they're our only real injuries, aren't they?
And you look at adding kind of those players to what we've kind of already got. It'd be an interesting kind of addition, wouldn't it, to what we've had, and yeah,
So
it'll only help us.
our two games straight after the break are West Ham, Brighton, and then January is Newcastle. Then we're away to Tottenham.
Yeah.
They're our first 4 games back after and then you go into United for the first 5 games. So you can't ask for a better 5 games to come back, because you've got to be on the ball.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, that's why I say it'd be nice. I think it'd be nice just to have a break and get everyone reclimatized and get going again, and then you can reset properly.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I found interesting. I was listening to BBC 5 Extra, and they had Glenn Murray on there, and he was saying he didn't think Gabriel would be going to the World Cup with Jesus would be going to the World Cup with Brazil, or Gabriel, for those two wouldn't be going. Whereas I thought that was quite an interesting take.
I'd happily take.
I mean, personally, I'd like to see that, but I can't see how you cannot take Jesus, because he's had 11 goal contributions this season so far. He's in form, and if you take away sort of the other teams, you take away strikers like Haaland and that, he's up there. And it's just a little bit of luck and a little bit of confidence in front of goal at the moment.
Yeah, no, definitely. One quick here. Do you think Arsenal plans for the January window changes if we're still top or close to the top of the league come December?
Well, I hope we go and get players. I think we need to go and get 2 players at least. And I am hoping that come January, if we're in this position, even if we're second, we're going back Arteta, and we say, here's the players that you need to finish your season off. It's going to do what you need to finish as high as you can. Because, as I've said before, that it's usually December to the end of January, and City usually go on a run in that period where they win 10 or 11 games on the trot. This season, it's going to be January to March, and if you can just keep grinding out those wins and points over that period, I think you've got every chance of winning and challenging for a title this season. And that's the reality. We are going from January to March, and that's where we're going to have to be our best. Well, I say our best. It's City aren't their best in that December to January, but they get the results. They know how to grind out the 1-0s, how to nick a win or nick a draw here and there, and that's what we've got to learn to do in that period when the games come thick and fast, and there's you're playing 2 or 3 games a week for that period, because you're going to have FA Cup games, League Cup games, and Europa League games in that period as well. So we've got to, and even though he's only been an assistant to Pep, he knows how Pep gets the team across those periods. And we've got two players in Zinchenko and Jesus who also know how to prepare and how to get those results when it gets to that tough.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So
I think there was plenty.
What's that?
I think there was plenty of options for that, wasn't there?
Yeah. So the subscribers
I don't blame them.
The subscribers have voted. 71% of Cannon Fodder TV subscribers that Reiss Nelson was the man of the match today. So, yeah, I think it shows it's testament to how well he played, and the actual like the impact on the game. I think is more than anything. Come on,
you see, I think Saliba and Partey, I'd have given it to Partey, but there were players there you could have given it to regardless. But I'm not surprised. 2 goals, you have to say, sort of, that's a fair enough reflection.
And a final one. Does Saka come straight back in if fit?
I think that's a no-brainer, don't you?
I think if we're talking Chelsea, then if he is fit, then yeah, he's got to go. If he's struggling, he stays out of the Chelsea game. He's not deemed fit for Chelsea, then I think we won't see him probably until maybe the Wolves game.
Yeah, to be personally blunt, I'd play him, and if he was then got injured and he couldn't go to a World Cup, but he was fit for a December for the start of Boxing Day, I'd play him. So that was the case. So he was rested.
That would be a little bit conflicting, wouldn't it? You imagine him as a player being forced to play for Arsenal and then him missing out on a World Cup, and you think how that would affect maybe players' morale.
As a manager, of a club, and it's not like cricket where all the England players have got a central contract with England. England doesn't matter. Club comes first. They're the one that pays the wages.
Yeah, if he isn't fit.
And as a manager, I would be totally selfish.
Yeah, I think you got to be aware of if he isn't fit, then you don't.
Yeah, I mean, you run the risk of him being injured long term. But as I said, I'd rather him play for us or get injured just before the World Cup, not play every game in the World Cup and come back and have a nice little break over that period and come back fresh and raring to go and with a point to prove.
Yeah.
And again, I think the same as with Ben White. I'm hoping he doesn't go to a World Cup. I'm hoping Southgate sticks to form and ignores him, and he'll continue to try and prove a point and show that he deserves that spot, because he hasn't done anything wrong, and he's keeping out a very decent player in Tommy Hassel from from the right back spot.
Yeah, I think you're going to find Ben White going, just for the fact that the other contenders that he's got at right back are seemingly now injured.
Yes, the only two that you might get were, is it James Justin of Leicester and Trent Alexander-Arnold are the only two fit ones.
Reece James is injured, but they're saying he might be back for the World Cup, but they're not 100% sure on that. But you've got to obviously pick your team or your big squad before you narrow it down.
Yeah.
So
well, he picks it the week before. He picks it with Chelsea after a Chelsea game, doesn't he? So
I would say that's going to be it. But yeah, well, no, I think he deserved it anyway.
Yeah,
but,
I think he deserves a shot because he's done nothing wrong for us, has he?
No, definitely. No, he's done really well. But no, look, we've done an hour and 40 minutes, Richard, again.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it?
Talking about the Arsenal, some good comments in the live chat. So I could be on here for another couple of hours, just going through stuff even further. I know it's been a great day to be an Arsenal fan. I think just for performance and the end result. But appreciate all your comments in the chat and the interaction. Please give us a follow on In the North Bank, and also subscribe and on Cannon Fodder TV. It means a lot to all of us. So yeah, thanks Richard for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
pleasure as always.
Really good. And I say thanks for tuning in, and we'll be ready for Chelsea.
Yeah, and I will just say that the Arsenal women, they've just finished and won their game.
Have they? What's the score on that?
3-1 in the end.
3-1, nice.
Yeah, I mean, West Ham were unlucky with they should have had a goal allowed in the first half, which got disallowed. But 3-1, so it keeps up their 100% winning record. But they've lost the clean sheet record now.
Well, who cares about that? Well done, the ladies.
So
this is In the North Bank and Cannon Fodder TV. This was the big Sunday show. Yeah, I'm the Bray, and Richard, thanks a lot, mate. And I'll see you next week. Tune in, same time.
Same place, same time. Yes, I'll be stuck here. I'll be glued here. I won't move.
The furniture now.
Yeah.
No, all the best. See you later.
See you later, mate.